Ake from Standard Chartered Bank. I want to recognize the presence of Ms. Amina Hassi, who's the CEO, Oasis Group of Companies. The MD, Shumuk, Stanbic Bank, Gordy Leisure Farm, Coca-Cola, and how can I not recognize the lightest woman in the building, Dr. Maggie Chigozi, from Pepsi Cola, but I'm sure most of you know her as the former executive director at Uganda Investment Authority. Special recognition to Chinawataka Straws, Grofin, Pigfair, Success Africa, TPO Uganda, Agriculture and Biodiversity Conservation Africa, ABCA, Health Tutors College Mulago, and Kibo Foundation. All of you ladies and gentlemen, you're most welcome. It now gives me pleasure to invite the Executive Director, PSFU, Gideon Badagawa, to make opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Maurice, and a very good afternoon to everyone. Our chair of the Private Sector Foundation and your deputy, just seated next to you, I know she was not introduced, but that is Dr. Goodla Basaza. Maybe you can stand up for recognition. Our deputy, our vice chairperson of private sector, the deputy country representative for UNICEF, the deputy head of mission for the USAID, I should say all friends of children, of Uganda's children. We want to, as part of the organizing committee, we want to welcome you to this afternoon's dialogue. We have called it the first public-private partnership dialogue on investing in young children, because for so long a time, we at the Private Sector Foundation, and therefore the business community, have been construed to mean those people that only focus on making profits, making economic returns. And I know that a lot of effort has been made since time immemorial for us to reach out on the social function, especially through what we call the corporate social responsibility. But some time back, about 4 years ago, we worked with a number of partners, among them the Ban van Leer Foundation in the Netherlands, to try and get the private sector in this country understand the challenge that we are faced with, especially focused on investing and how much we have done to invest in the cause of young children. We started this project as a district pilot project. And then we were looking basically at 3 districts in northern Uganda, in Kumi, Nakapiripirit, and Apache district, and a lot of achievement in terms of focusing on communities, focusing on the young children, early learning, healthcare, basically the early childhood development aspect was focused, and we had a lot of achievement there. Later on, this evolved into what we now have at the Private Sector Foundation as the Early Steps Program. And again, the reason we established this program at the Private Sector Foundation was basically to really support and encourage investment in the young children, especially those children in the foundation years. You know, when we talk about young children, it ranges from 0 years to 8 years. Some people even take it to 18 years, because in Uganda here, a child remains a child until after 18, then becomes a young adult or so. But we focused mainly under this program on those children in the foundation years, 0 to 5 years, and especially so those children before the age of 3. And what are we doing there? We are basically looking at 3 things. We are looking at child survival, we are looking at child development, and we are also looking at child protection. And I'm really very, very thankful to the partners that we have drawn, that have been rallied behind this cause. And some of them, of course, in this room, from the public sector, government, the civil society, and also, of course, to the development partners like UNICEF. I really want to thank UNICEF because about 4 months ago, we worked together to popularize the children's rights and business principles in this country. This is a Uganda commitment under the UN framework because we signed on to the Child Rights Convention, which was celebrated, I think 25 years was celebrated earlier this year. And the idea is to try and popularize and refocus ourselves, our renewed commitment to supporting the cause of young children. And for the private sector especially, we have said it, we have reached out to various corporates, various institutions, associations, both in government and the private sector. And we are saying, if we do not invest in young children today, we do not have business tomorrow. And that is pretty obvious. Why? Because if you look at production within the business community, those that are producing to bring to the market, more than 60% of what we bring to the market is actually consumed by children, if you care to think about it. Whether you're talking about food products, milk, bread, juices, just think about how much we put in terms of effort to buy for children that are going back to school. Whether you talk about steel products, whether you're talking about iron seats, whether you're talking about cement, how many schools are being erected for young children, especially primary school, secondary school, but even more, the ECD centers, especially for the private sector. 100% of investments in preschool in this country is by the private sector, and we really want to thank the private sector for this effort. And part of the advocacy programs at the Private Sector Foundation is to try and get the government, and we have reached out to Parliament. We are happy the Parliamentary Forum on Children is one of those very strong advocates and partners of ours in advancing the cause of children. To reach out to them, to try and indicate to them and everyone out there that the reason we have failed so much on the MDGs is because we did not put a lot of attention on the cause of young children, on nutrition. That's why most of the time we have fallen short on realizing the targets under the child mortality, maternal mortality, and so on and so forth. Education. If you look at the rates, and I'm happy Jaya is here and is going to give us a presentation, if you look at the percentages across all these indicators under MDGs, and now we are going to talk about the post-2015 development agenda under the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, and the question is, how can we re-strategize both government and the private sector? And that's why this is the PPP, Public Dialogue on Investing in Young Children. How do we re-strategize to make sure that now we are able to attain and achieve what we are setting under the SDGs? Given the experiences and the lessons that we had 15 years back when we moved across the MDGs. Our philosophy as Private Sector Foundation is to promote good business practices. And we think that we can only do that if the social function is part of our business cause. And the social function includes environmental protection, includes business for peace, includes child protection. Child labor, how much are we doing about that? Feeding of children at school, how much are we doing that? And then we need to talk to parents because, again, under the UPE, we all know that parents have relegated their responsibility to government of feeding their own child. And we need to do a lot of communication. I'm happy with, the partnership that we have with UNICEF. There's a lot of communication that is going across, which I think that will yield in not too distant future. I know that a lot is going to be said through this afternoon, and what I want to do is yet again to thank everyone for your time, for coming around, and for being such wonderful friends to the UG children. Thank you very much.
Speaker, I want to recognize the director, or the mission director, USAID Uganda, Leslie Reed, who's also here with us. Thank you so much for joining us. May I now invite the Chief of Communications at UNICEF, my friend Jaya Mathi, to come and make a presentation on the situation of children in Uganda.
Thanks very much, Morris, and thank you also, Gideon, and good afternoon, everybody. As Morris noted, I'll present on the current situation of children, or the state of the Ugandan child, if you will. But before I get into that, I would just like to give a quick overview of what you see here, which is hashtag Invest in UG Children, Realize Uganda's Vision 2040. This was a campaign that was launched just over 1 year ago, and it was launched with two key principles in mind, or two key trends. Number one is, if you look at the current population demographics of Uganda, Uganda is one of the youngest countries in the world. Currently, 56% of Uganda's population is under the age of 18. That's roughly 20 million out of 35 million people. And then when you consider the fertility rate, over 6 children per woman, which is also one of the highest fertility rates in the world, the population growth is one of the highest rates of population growth in any country in the world. And the forecasts are these. By 2030, it's estimated that there will be 30 million children, and by 2050, it's estimated that there will be well over 40 million children in the country. Now then, if we consider Vision 2040, which is a fantastic vision. It's a vision to achieve upper middle income country status. And what that very practically means, it means having a target of $9,500 per capita income, up from today's per capita income of $772 per capita. That is a very noble mission and also a very ambitious mission and vision. That's roughly an increase of $9,000 per capita in 25 years. So when you consider that vision, and when you consider the population demographics, what we know is that there's really no wiser investment to stimulate economic growth and to give the country the best possible opportunity of attaining that vision than by accelerating investments in children and in all of the various areas affecting children, which I'll now go into. So this presentation is based on a situation analysis report that was launched by the government of Uganda a few months ago. It was a report that was in the making for well over 1 year, with so the key facts and statistics that we're going to see in this presentation is derived. Now, the report is divided into the fundamental rights of children. And really, when we talk about rights of children, there are 4 fundamental rights: the right to health, the right to education, the right to protection, and the right to safety. So if we look at the right to health, and first I'm going to go into maternal health. Now, Uganda has made some good progress in maternal health. For example, the maternal mortality rate in 1995 was 527 deaths per 100,000 live births. And in 2011, the maternal mortality rate is 438 deaths per 100,000 live births. So we've seen a significant reduction. But what this current mortality rate actually means is it means that 18 Ugandan mothers are dying every day. The Director General of the Ministry of Health actually stated that about a month ago, noting that 18 Ugandan mothers are dying every day across the country. And when we look at the causes, so we split it into direct causes and death due to indirect causes. So in terms of the top three reasons or causes for direct causes, number one is hemorrhage, accounting for 42% of direct cause deaths. Number two is labor, accounting for 22%. And number three is, I can't read that, but it's 11%. Now, if we look at death due to indirect causes, right. Yes, that'll help. So number one is malaria. So malaria is anemia at 11%, and number three is HIV/AIDS. So when we're considering a holistic public-private partnership, what we're looking at is how can various industries and companies engage to address these. For example, malaria. Are there producers of mosquito nets? Are there producers of medication? How can we work together to significantly reduce that the cause of malaria specifically, and all of the other ones? Now, if we look at antenatal care, what we know is good antenatal care can prevent up to 1/4 of maternal deaths. 1/4 of maternal deaths. But when we look at the current situation of antenatal care, it's stunning. 48% of pregnant women make the recommended visits of 4 antenatal care visits. Less than half of all pregnant women are making the recommended visits. 43% of births are not actually taking place in a health facility. And 29% of health facilities do not even offer antenatal care. So we can see if we can somehow sharpen our focus in terms of providing maternal health care in health facilities, sensitizing mothers and families and communities to access that care, we can make huge progress in terms of reducing the maternal mortality rate. Now, if we look at the child mortality rates, again, Uganda has made pretty significant progress over the last several years. In 1988, the under 5 mortality rate was 188 deaths per 1,000 live births. In 2011, that rate went down to 90. It more than halved. So that's significant progress, and really the government and the country deserves a lot of credit for that progress. However, there's more progress to be made. What that means practically is that there are 327 children that are dying across the country every day. That's what 90 deaths per 1,000 live births means. And now when we break down the moment from birth to under 5, this is what we see. In the first day of life, there are 13 deaths per 1,000 live births. In the first week, there are 20 deaths per 1,000 live births. In the first month, or the first 4 weeks, 28 days, there are 27 deaths per 1,000 live births. In the first year, there are 56 deaths per 1,000 live births. And then under 5, by the time a child reaches his or her 5th birthday, there are 90 deaths per 1,000 live births. Now, if we work backwards, what we see is the importance of the very first days, even minutes of life. So if we look at the under 5 rate being 90 deaths, well, the rate by the first birthday is 56 deaths. So more than half of all under 5 deaths are happening within the first year of life. Then if we look at the first 4 weeks, 27 deaths, 27 out of 56 deaths within the first year. That means roughly half of all deaths in the first year of life are happening in the first month of life. Then if we look at the first week, 20 deaths per 1,000 live births. That's roughly 3/4 of all deaths in the first month of life are happening in the first week of life. And then if we go down to the first day, 13 deaths out of 20 deaths in the first week, that's again roughly 3/4 of all deaths happening in the first day. It really, really underscores the importance of addressing healthcare right at the beginning of a child's life, right at birth and even before birth. Now, if we continue to think about what are the reasons for child mortality, we see a few diseases that are the primary causes of child mortality. What we know is that diseases such as malaria, such as pneumonia, such as diarrhea, such as HIV/AIDS, they account for more than 70% of all child deaths across the country. Specifically, if we look at pneumonia accounts for 16% of deaths across the country, which is roughly 52 children dying every day due to pneumonia. Then if we look at malaria comes in at number 2. 13% of all child deaths are due to malaria, and that's roughly 42 deaths per day. And then if we look at diarrhea accounts for 10%.
News Updates is brought to you by
Sadolin, color your world.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah!
I'm a hot young sister, ambitious like a diva.
Hey.
Superstar, I'm a dreamer. I got that burning desire to keep on rising. To keep on rising, rising. Hey.
Listen, I'm a bobo como wofu yenze.
On a mission,
City cigara, city shisha,
city
I'm a
taba.
bobo como wofu yenze.
We are mission,
City cigara, city shisha,
city
I'm a
taba.
bobo kaba wofu, that's we.
I'm a mission,
City cigara, city shisha,
city taba.
Smoke, we no pop cigarette on Cuba. We no mix, we no mingle. Now I no forget. Ebika, the tuli basaga, the tunyoka, tuli kuzi, tuli bakawaka. Tulu la jogeda, we to semba ya dojwa soda ko yoli wina. Sidi taba, yeah. Yeah, me know.
I'm a bobo como wofu yenze.
I'm a mission,
City cigara, city shisha,
city taba.
I'm ambition mission, Silitaba.
Switching to GoTV. Why should you migrate to digital with GoTV? GoTV has the clearest signal in Uganda. GoTV has the strongest signal and greatest sound quality in Uganda. GoTV gives you more than 50 local and international channels. GoTV is the most affordable paid TV in Uganda. For just 34,000 shillings, you get a digital decoder and 1 month of GoTV Plus. GoTV is in more parts of Uganda than any other paid TV in Uganda. So, switching to digital with the right partner. Switching to digital with GoTV.
GoTV. Live it, love it.
Mutawan, next time you should visit for longer.
Tough for you, Mom. I'll find a way to be there more. Okay, yeah.
On the largest 3G network, your loved ones are always closer. Get the Airtel smartphone today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Do you have an award-winning business idea? Don't throw it out just yet, because the Kickstart Entrepreneurship Program is back. Grab your chance to win 100% grant, business training, and mentorship to see your idea turn to gold. Congratulations. Get your application from now, boys, and submit online before 18 September 2015 to corporateaffairs@ug.submiller.com. Applicants should be Ugandans between 18 to 35 years of age. The Kickstart Entrepreneurship Program Season 2 is proudly brought to you by Now Breweries through Now Special in association with NTV and Enterprise Uganda. Now Special, the rich satisfying taste for people over the age of 18 only. www.talkingalcohol.com.
So again, just the simple measure of soap and water can have a huge impact on preventing disease, preventing mortality, but this is the situation. Now, if we look at the right to education, and specifically if we look at pre-primary school is one of the wisest investments any household and any country can make. There have been some analyses, some global analyses that have been done that show the attendance rate of pre-primary education is a direct indicator of the economic health of the country. You can see it very clearly. The higher the rate of enrollment of children in pre-primary school directly leads to economic growth. There's a straight line where you can see about 50 countries, and all of the countries are staggered, where the lowest rates of early childhood enrollment, early childhood education enrollment, are also the lowest rates of economic growth. Now in Uganda, only 10% of Ugandan children are enrolled in pre-primary school. And there are huge disparities that exist across the country. The majority of enrollments are in Kampala. 62% of all primary school enrollments are happening in Kampala. Then if we looked at some of the more marginalized regions of the country, Karamoja, 6% of children between 3 to 5 in Karamoja are accessing pre-primary education, and in West Nile, 5% of 3 to 5-year-olds are accessing pre-primary education. We know if there are investments made across the board, but especially in those marginalized regions, that will have a transformative impact in not that too distant a future for those children, for their communities, and for the country as a whole. Now, if we look at the right to education, Gideon referred to this. There have been massive gains in terms of primary school enrollment. In 1996, the primary school, there were 2.7 million children that were enrolled in primary school. Then after UPE, in 2009, 8.2 million children were enrolled in primary school. That's triple the number of children. So huge growth, and many, many more children. In fact, almost all children are now accessing primary school education. 94%, in fact, of all children are enrolling in P1. But then when we look at the progression to P2, to P3, to P5, we start to see a steady decline. 63% of all of those children who enrolled in P1 are enrolled on time in P5. And in P7, only 32% of children who enroll in P1 are enrolled on time at P7. That's less than half of all the children enrolled in P1. Now, in terms of completion, 33% of children who start primary school drop out before even completing primary school. 1/3 of all children. And then when we look to secondary school, 3/4 of children who start primary school never even make it to secondary school. 3/4 of education. There's a lot of room for progress in terms of education. Only 1 in 5 teachers are qualified to teach core subjects such as English and math. And 60% of teachers are not even teaching. 60% of teachers are not even teaching. 29% are in school, but they're not in class. Are in class, but they're not teaching. Now, if we look at what this actually means, by P6, only 40% of students are literate. Have they achieved the standard of that level for reading and math as well, literacy and numeracy? And when we look at core secondary school subjects, and when we look at student proficiency, 47%
This program is rated GE. It is suitable for all audiences.
Teen Nation is brought to you by.
Visit ambitionmission.ug or our Facebook fan page and take the pledge.
Alright guys, welcome to yet another exciting, thrilling edition of your best show here in Kele. This is Teen Nation. I am Crystal Love, aka Mr. Teen Nation, aka Mr. Dampers.
Exactly, guys. And I'm Joy Crystal, as always. You know my face, you know how we do. But guys, we have a huge episode for you guys today. It is a new kind of thing, right, Crystal?
Yeah, so but first of all, I want you to tell me, what have you been doing this week?
What this week? Oh my gosh, no guys. Let me be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. This week was a boring, homebound week. Honestly, I was at home on the laptop watching movies. That's it.
But me, this is what I did. I met a new stylist, and this guy is off the hook.
Nice.
It's called Kai Devo Collection. You guys can check him out on Facebook. You can see the way I'm styled up today. This guy styled me. He picked me up in a good way, and I love this. Like seriously, you can find him on Facebook. That is Kai Devo on Facebook Collections. Get him there and connect with him. He can pick you up like the way he did it to me.
Guys, come on, you have to see that. I also got my hair did this week, if you didn't notice. I mean, I'm rocking the 24 inches. It's serious. But anyway, guys, we have a packed episode like we showed you today, so keep it locked right here to Teen Nation.
So guys, this is what we call the Throwback Saturday, where we definitely do for you those events which you missed out. If you actually missed out one of the events right here on the show, today we're going to be doing for you those events. Now, we have the prom party of Lubidi SS. This was a fabulous party which happened at Lubidi SS. Guys was celebrating their prom party. It was really, really awesome, and I really loved it, like seriously. And also, St. Juliana had an MDD day. It was fabulous. These guys were actually showcasing their talent in craft, like art craft, like, you know, they had dancing, you know, culture dances. They had the culture dances. It was really massive too. And also, it was really going down at the high school talent show right down in Freedom City. It was dope too. Why don't you guys take a look at this? And I hope you enjoy it right here on Teen Nation. It is too bad. I am too good, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls who are watching Teen Nation right now. I would love to welcome you officially to one of the best talent shows here in Uganda. We do have, this is the high school talent search. If you got talent, these guys are going to show us what they do have. It is organized by Chile Magazine, and this is Teen Nation. My name is Crystal Love. We're going to be talking to some of the students right here because these are the talent kids who are got from different kind of schools. We have Greenlight, Kololo High. We're going to be talking to some of them, and they tell us their experience on this event, and they tell us what they think about this event. Hey, come with me. So what's your name?
My name is Mugisha Ibrahim.
What do you expect out of this event? Do you expect to win or not?
You expect to win?
Are you serious?
Yes.
You're also a dancer?
Yeah, I'm also a dancer from Oganaga crew.
Oganaga crew.
Yeah.
All right, first do me a stroke. Do me a stroke.
A stroke.
Yeah, let's do it.
Came to win, to fight, to conquer, to thrive. I came to win, to survive, to prosper, rise, to fly.
Switch up. Switch up.
I just can't
switch up.
Sunk in your bed, rock hot, up in your love shot. Now out by your whole shot. I'm stuck in your head.
Switch up.
How are you?
Fine, Andy.
What do you
Yeah.
Just cool as what?
Just high school music.
Are you a dancer?
No, I'm not a dancer.
You just have to have fun.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, so.
Why aren't you inside?
Yeah, I want.
tell me, lady, I'm feeling dizzy. Oh, bring me something to help me through the day. Everything is spinning around, round and round and round. Oh, oh, oh.
How are you?
I'm fine, nice.
What's your name?
I'm going Michael Chirurgen.
What do you think made you go out?
We didn't have much energy and we trained for a little time.
How do you feel that every dance crew is saying you guys are the best?
I feel wow, man. I feel wow.
I feel good.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. We will rock them till now because we will get them mad off heads.
How are you?
I'm fine.
What's your name?
I'm Kebaxon.
What are you guys looking at when you're trying to be judges here?
We look at many things right here. We need the vigor. We look at the way the costume is being prepared. Look at the way you use your stage. Look at the routines, the complexity of the routines, you know?
We dancers, we have to be so vigorous. They have to be happy. Like, they show the audience they have the passion in dancing. They should balance the stage.
Well, so far their choreography was not so perfect. Apart from obviously the obvious ones, that they did a good job, like the Agrills, like the Light College, but the rest their choreography was lacking.
Show yourself. Expose yourself.
What you mean the family in a touch? What you mean the family? Oh yeah, guess. Why mean the family? Yes. What you mean the family? What?
Can I give you the first run-up? In second position. That is Chitebi Secondary School.
Big up! I'm a winner. I will never be a loser. I never be a winner. Don't go out to put a loser.
2015. Agro Memorial.
They are taking it back.
They are taking it back. I can't believe these guys. They are taking it the second time. They are taking it the second time. That's my school. This is the second time they're taking the trophy. This is the second time they're taking the award home.
All right, it is all about prom, because, hey, we have the Form 6s, the Form 4s celebrating their prom parties. So right now, we've been at so many prom parties here in Uganda, and lately we've been at Hana Mixed for their white prom party, and right now we're at Rubiri for their prom party. These guys look awesome. You can take a look at that. These guys want to kill. So we're going to be talking to some of the guys right here. They tell us what inspired them to wear like the way they are right now, and what is going on, and what they do expect on this prom party. Hi, what's up? How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
What's your name?
My name is John.
What do you expect on this prom party?
I expect something so big.
This is what I talk about. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Sarah.
And I want you to first tell me about your outfit.
It's a culture wear, it's creative wear, it's everything.
Everything. Yeah. What is this? Who does this on the prom?
Feathers. These are feathers.
You're wearing feathers?
Yeah.
I mean, what are they for the chic one?
Yeah.
She's saying she's wearing feathers. And what is this?
This is my crown, my tiara.
You're a queen?
I'm the queen for culture session.
I love your outfit. Could you please first stand up a bit?
Thank you.
Stand up. This is what I call a Nigerian way of wearing on a prom party. You can see her necklace is off the hook. The dress. How much did it cost you to wear like this?
Something like 50,000.
Oh, she's being honest. And who inspired you to wear like this?
My mom.
Your mom? Yeah. I want you to first look into your camera and say, hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Let me have a chat with one of the girls who's saying that she has a date on the prom. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
What's your name?
I'm called Troudy.
You have a date?
Yeah, I have a date.
How did he ask you out?
He found me on the balconies of our classes, so he asked me out.
Just like that?
Yeah.
And you accepted?
I gave him some time, then I had to accept.
Who inspired you like this?
My friend.
Is it because it is Heroes Day you had to wear a Ugandan flag?
No, it's inspired by my best friend.
Okay, how much did it cost you to design this?
20.
20, just 20.
Yeah.
Wow. Take a look at the necklace. And tell me about the necklace. What is so unique about your necklace?
Like it's made out of a paper and it's black in color, like it matches with my stuff I've worn.
What is this? This happens on bars. You guy, are you sick?
Oh, automatically I'm sick.
In reality, are you sick?
I'm sick for you.
Guys, take a look at this outfit. Oh my God.
In fact,
what is this?
This is blood.
No.
Blood?
Yeah.
Guys, look at this. Is this blood, really? Ah, what's your name?
I'm Dida.
You're the doctor?
Yeah, I'm the doctor.
And what is he sick from?
He had an accident.
Oh, yeah, are you sure you had an accident?
Yeah, I had an accident, but okay, in fact, it's a blind that I look like this. It is even the accident that made my nose look like this.
First ever prom party. I've ever had a prom king and a prom queen doing the bidding and become the prom queen and prom queen. So first tell me, you as a prom queen, there are very many prom parties which are organized here in Uganda. Tell me, I want you to give one advice to all the prom parties which are being organized, all the organizers. What could you advise the organizers of the prom parties?
Okay, all I can say is that if they're organizing the party, they shouldn't only mind about money, but they should mind about smartness, the distance, the everything.
Very African, inspired wear. What was the inspiration behind it? Why didn't you wear something more American or more international than this?
We wear more international outfits because we're self-inspired. We just want to create something which is unique from our own designs, not just to copy from others.
Oh, we do this at our school. You see, this I'm putting on an African
is in its African.
Bijanjalo beans.
These are beans. It a design means Africa is fertile. You get?
Africa is fertile.
African map, yeah. This is an African map.
What's the type of beans?
These? Well, I don't know. They're called in Uganda. Well,
Sino. Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm Rhoda.
Rhoda.
Yeah.
What is this?
This is maize flour. And I wore it because I found that it would be the most comfortable for me, so I like it and I made it myself.
Yeah, I just want to know why.
Nah, I'm just like a fan of movies. Yeah,
Watching a lot of movies, but you look good. What house are you from?
America.
America seems to be going really good here. Now I want to talk to this girl with the balloons. Now, what's your name again? Favor. Now tell me, Favor, why did you blow up these balloons and make it into an outfit?
I wanted to invite people about decorations.
How long did this outfit take you to make?
Like 2 minutes.
2 minutes? No?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Still a very short time.
What's your name?
Rachel.
Rachel. What is this?
Back clothes.
A back cloth. This is what I talk about. So who inspired you?
Designer.
Your designer. You're not the one who designed yourself?
Yeah.
So somebody designed you up. Wakabi. Who inspired you with this?
There are a lot of people in the fashion industry.
So who do you look up to?
Steve Young.
How much did it cost you to design this thing? Because this is really off the hook, like seriously.
It's just easy.
Just easy. Look into the camera and tell them it's just easy.
It's just easy.
No, like this. Just easy.
It's just easy.
That's how we do it. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
What's your name?
My name is Clovis.
And what is this outfit?
This outfit, it's a vest and some. I made some beads out of peppers. They're brown in color. Yeah.
So what song is this?
This is La Raka Raka.
Raka Raka.
Yeah.
From which tribe?
It's a tribe in northern Uganda called the Acholi.
You're from Acholi?
No, I'm a Kejong.
You're what?
Kejong.
Alright guys, so those were our throwback events. Let us know on our Facebook page, NCBT Nation, what your favorite event of this whole entire year was. Since the year is coming to a fast end, we'd like to hear from you all the time. So guys, we're going for a short break, but keep it locked right here to T Nation.
NTV, turning on your world.
Starting on 21st September 2015, Login airs on Wednesday at 8 p.m. The Hostel will air on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. For all those Ann Kasime fans, make a date with Ann on Friday at 9:40 p.m. Behind Closed Doors will be airing on Thursday and Friday at 8 p.m. We bring you more fun, more entertainment, and more.
You went to the UK and you bought those shoes. I don't know both of them. Are they your? No, that's okay. Speak the truth and ashamed of them. Are those shoes yours?
NTV, turning on your world.
infrastructure because of the growth of the population. So if the population is growing that fast and the population is growing is not the quality, the level at it should be, then it will put a real it will exert real pressure on the infrastructure that's available, the healthcare structure, the educational structure, and all that stuff. So, and this, Jaya told us that when you look at just one of the social issues, this costs us as a country over $600 million a year. Quite a lot of analysis has been done in this area. We've seen figures like, 1.7 billion in US dollars lost in GDP equivalent every year because of the social factors that affect these children. But if we act now, let's move. If we act now, this is a graph that just very quickly shows you the different levels of growth that we can see the economy. And this was based on the national census report, the state of Uganda population report, where they gave us a very good analysis to say that if we continue with business as usual, the line we see at the bottom is the projected growth that we see towards 2040, meaning we will not achieve Vision 2040. But if we put in place interventions that are economic interventions, then we'll see a slight growth. Sorry, you can't see that really clearly, but you'll see now the line, at least we see some substantial growth coming through. But should we then exert both social interventions and economic interventions, then we see ourselves growing towards Vision 2040. This was a very good analysis that was done, and it's evidence of the fact that we need to do more than just put in place economic interventions. So, it's very clear. We know that the government is taking action. The former Minister of Finance, Maria Chiwanuka, if you allow me to read the statement that she said there. I'm sure I can see. Yes, she says, this was during a business leaders forum on early childhood development end of last year, and she made a very, very important statement. She said, to develop human capital, we must invest in children. And it is not just for government, but for everybody. There's a key message for us here. We are committed to support the business community, to promote your efforts, to invest in children, because that is a growing, children are a growing concern. So this is a voice from the government. Also, let's move on. We also see that the private sector is already aligned. We do know that your organizations have actually been involved in a lot of CSR activities. So that is really, really commendable. And we'll see, I mean, and the question we need to ask ourselves is that, is there more that we can do to deliver the impact we need to achieve the transformational benefit to the children? The executive director for Private Sector Foundation at the same event stated that the return on investment in children is enormous in any country. If you want to compete and add value, the most important resource that any country will have are the 18 and 9-year-olds who are joining the labor market. But trying to develop their brains at that time is too late. We had the conversation about brain development, critical to start in the first 3 years of life, because that is when the brain formation is complete. Then we also see that, we've seen that companies have taken action. Please move. Companies have taken action. These are just some of the examples of CSR activities that we have seen taking place. We know they are numerous, but we know that a lot is taking place in the economy, in the sector. And also development actors, obviously that's what development actors do on a day-to-day basis. Their organizational models are centered around providing social services to these children and other beneficiaries, and their other beneficiaries as well. So if everybody is doing their part, that's clear. But why is there a disconnection between the intention or the strategy and the reality on the ground? Every sector is doing their part. Every sector is active. Why then is the situation on children still grim? Why is it alarming? Why is it an issue if we don't do something differently now? Let's go. Let's look at some thoughts that came through from our leaders. Mr. Keith, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Finance, at an event said that managing a youthful population requires that the demographic dividend is harnessed to drive more rapid and economic growth. Government has implemented policies, and that's true. We have an enabling environment within which to work. However, this necessitates stronger partnership between the government, the private sector, development partners, CSOs, and the youth themselves. I think our message is very clear. Let's look at another thought from another of our leaders. This is the Assistant Commissioner for Children Affairs from the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Mr. Kabogoza, who said if at an event during this month, if we are going to succeed in this, we're going to have to do this jointly. Not only government, not only the civil society, but also with the private sector. I think the message is clear. The message is clear. Let's look at another thought process. And this is now at the same event, the country representative of UNICEF, who says the new Sustainable Development Framework, the Sustainable Development Goals, acknowledges the critical role of the private sector. So you can see from a development planning perspective, the private sector is seen to be a very, very critical partner in ensuring that the equity, the gaps that are caused through the developments that have been seen are closed, and every national in every country gets to enjoy the benefits of the growth in that country. She continues to say that private-public partnership is going to be one of the pillars of the Sustainable Development Goals. So very clear message, we need to work together. We need to work together. It's a very clear message. I believe that's what you're thinking as well. Great minds think alike, and I'm sure you're exactly on the same page. We need to work together if we are going to achieve the transformational growth that is going to deliver 2040 vision for us. So we thought we'd also sort of highlight, I'm sure you know what the value of this investment is to you. You've done CSR activities, and you've seen the value coming through. We're saying if we do this a lot more differently, the benefits that you've seen coming through from your CSR activities are going to be even stronger and that much more impactful, not to your organization and to your communities and the economy as well. Obviously, we know that this strengthens the equity of your brand, because consumers, who are your consumers want to align with like-minded people. So obviously they're going to be more loyal to your brand. Your brand is going to be seen to be credibly doing well, and you're going to be able to report even stronger impact on your activities. Obviously, this will also enhance your reputation, not only amongst your consumers, but other stakeholders that you work with on a day-to-day basis. The government, your business partners at an international level, at a national level. If you're able to stand on a podium and say that in this community in Kotido, we actually reduced the number of newborn mortalities, because these are the interventions we're able to put in place, and we're looking to scale this up and also implement it in other communities in the rest of the country. That really speaks for you as an organization. Obviously, we know that you're looking to constantly, you need to have positive relations with the government if you're going to thrive in your business, and if you're going to be sustainable, if you're going to remain, if you're going to grow within your sector. And obviously, a situation like this, when you are delivering impact and you're doing good and you're doing credibly, you're going to have to work with the government, and this obviously enhances your relationships with the government. We've spoken about customer loyalty as well. This then translates to obviously to better bottom line numbers and better top line numbers for your business. So ultimately, what are we saying? We're saying that when you invest in children, it's a very, very interdependent cycle of activities. When you invest in children, you're going to be able to upskill 20 million Ugandans. And these 20 million Ugandans are going to be 30 million Ugandans in 2040. And once you upskill your 20 million Ugandans, you grow market demand, because you have empowered them to be more productive, you've empowered them to earn more, you've empowered them to be able to deliver as a nation a higher GDP and a higher GDP per capita. What that means is that your business grows, obviously, because your demand is higher, your revenue, your value demand is higher. And if your businesses grow, we know the private sector is the key driver of the economy, right? So if you grow as businesses, the economy grows, and once the economy grows, we invest in the children again, and it just becomes a very, very positive cycle that is beneficial all round to the children, to the government, to you as businesses as well. So that's our key message today. So, yeah, that's our key message today. Thank you very much. I'll hand you over to Maurice again.
Thank you, Hilda. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Hilda and Jaya, who've done extensively well in putting this, the numbers and the statistics, really, to make us understand why we need to have this public-private partnership to increase investment for Uganda's children. If you're joining us, you're watching a live broadcast of the first public-private sector partnership to increase investment, as I mentioned, for UG children, watching this live broadcast on NTV and UBC TV. I wanted, just before I introduce a partner in this and our host, the chair of PSFU, to mention some of the other friends of children who are also here with us. And bear with us, we're still compiling the entire list. Just in case we miss out one or two names, we'll probably do that before we conclude. May I also recognize in a special way a representative from the Small Scale Industries Association, NC Bank, UWIL, Mvule Trust, Britannia Allied Industries, URSB, SA Airways, DFCU Bank, the UN family, the entire UN family, because we have members of UNDP here, we have UN Women, I think, and UNICEF, of course. The children rights NGOs who are all represented here, we want to thank you so much for being here. The Korea International Cooperation Agency, we have representation from State House, Shumuk Multiple Industries, the National Council for Children, NIC, NIC, Pig Fair, the Ministry of Health, Makerere University, Kenya Airways, Bank of Africa, the Kampala City Traders Association, Kasita, Ministry of Trade, Post Bank, and Nogamu. If there is any other I have left out, I'll try and recognize your presence as we continue with this dialogue. We really want to thank all of you, members of the private sector, for joining us. Now, allow me to invite the chair of the Private Sector Foundation, Patrick Bitature, to take us through the sector's individual story on the importance of creating opportunities for our children. Patrick.
News Updates is brought to you by Salulin. Color your world.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh, yeah.
I know exactly what to do. So how do I look, girls? So clean.
Mukwano Star White Laundry Bar Soap makes you the star you are.
If you only knew what the future holds, after a hurricane comes a rainbow. Maybe you're share, we share, we share, we share tugabane. The moments, we share the love, we share, we share, we share the smiles, we share the pleasures, we share it all with tugabane. We share tugabane, we share, yes we share.
We always share things with people we love. Now with Airtel, you can share your internet too. Dial *175*5#. Select Tugabane and share your internet with up to 5 people.
We share, we share, we share, we share tugabane.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Fresh every day. But during the day, it's natural for odor to creep back in. That's why you need Rexona Roll-On with Sweat Guard after every morning shower to keep you feeling clean, dry, and fresh every day. So you always pass the freshness test. Rexona, it won't let you down.
Street party in East Africa is finally back. KCCA presents the Kampala City Festival 2015. Come enjoy the diverse culture of Kampala, food, art, music, and much more. Get ready to enjoy the floats, the zoo, over 6 stages, and with over 50 music artists. Entrance is free and your security is guaranteed. 4th October 2015. You do not want to miss this for anything. Sponsored by
circumcised to prove you're a man. Go for circumcision, but in a decent way. Go to the clinics. Doesn't mean that you're not a man if you're not thrashed like that. FMG is a no-go, period. In any society, whatever the cultures, we've got to move on. Let go of some of those things. The role of women in society. We still are not doing enough. We've paid a lot of lip service, and we have made strides in bringing women on board. The role of a mother, the role of a girl child, we've got to emphasize it. We have to celebrate every girl that is born in this country, because they change our society. They are the center of every family. Educate a girl child and you will change your society. Number 4, we need to invest in education and better health care, period. We need to do this, and substantially. The government had to focus on infrastructure, which was necessary. The roads, electricity, another important hardware. But we have to focus on our software. And this is not a role only for the government. The private sector has got to play a leading role. Many of the comments there were calling upon the private sector to come on board. Today I am proud that our government contributes or collects 80% of its revenue from its own people. Its own people are the private sector. We are contributing 82%. Hopefully we shall reach 100% in the coming years. And that's the role of private sector as a starting point, what they take from us. We have to rise the challenge and do so much more. A little bit about my story. I'll keep it brief and keep it to the point. I was born into a relatively wealthy family about the time when Uganda got independence. So I've always looked at Uganda as my twin sister or twin brother. Our fortunes were good for the first 6-7 years when I was a child. And Uganda was a shining star. I was raised by my parents to be very proud to be a Ugandan, to love my country and those patriotic values, to sing your national anthem with pride. I did my primary school in Kenya, and when I came to Uganda, I was so proud to be back in Uganda. These were the days of the 1970s. Idi Amin's government was in power. In spite of him, I felt proud to be a Ugandan. Shortly after we'd returned, unfortunately, my father was killed by the Idi Amin regime. Now, that was at a very tender age because I was a child. He was my role model. I believed in him. I loved him. He was everything to me. And he was killed for no reason. I kept asking, but why? 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 And I had no answer. Not from my mother, not from friends, not from uncles. They couldn't explain why. But people were disappearing and we kept quiet. And this period went on and on and on. The 8 years Amin was in power was such a long time as a part of my life. It was a long nightmare that was never ending. People were dying. We lived in very bad conditions. The house we lived in, we walked out that day as we were, and we never went back. From a family where we had people on call, cars there, you could go wherever you wanted. Overnight, it was a nightmare. I was taken in by Father Grimes, a Catholic priest in Namasagali, partly because we were scared of being here and who we are. And I lost the name Bitature. I could not use it because people were scared that they'd come after us. I lived under the tutelage of Father Grimes. We didn't even have school fees sometimes, and he let us study. All my brothers came and sisters to Namasagali, and we lived with this Father Grimes. He taught me Christian values, and I was a page boy, but I was very bitter inside. I had a burning fire. Why? And I couldn't agree with God, who I prayed to every morning. Why us? What had we done wrong? And what was wrong with this country? It pressed us so hard. I didn't see my younger brothers, some of the younger ones, for a long time. I only got to see them almost about a year later, when I came to see my mother somewhere, and the conditions in which she was living. They were terrible for what I knew of my mother. She had lost so much weight. She wasn't the mother I knew, but I was happy to see my mother. And she laid a carpet for us on the ground, a mat, and prepared tea for us. And when she served us tea, there was no sugar. She brought us bananas because there was no bread. We couldn't afford certain basic things. At school, we knew we lived with posho and beans. That was school. But when you come home, and then also your mother did this for you, and that was the best she could do. We were celebrating tea. It was painful. My youngest brother started crying, and he was insisting he wanted sugar in the tea. Then my mother cried also, and looked up to heaven and asked, God, take us, all of us, take us back. I was 13. A lump came in my throat. I got the message. Because we had lived in Kenya, I knew where we lived, and we used to go down the road to buy sugar. Surely I could bring sugar at least to our home. Without her consent that night, I took little money from the bag, whatever we had, and I got on a bus. Without a passport, I went to Kenya. Now going to Kenya, I got on an Akamba bus, I recall. An overnight bus. I got there in the morning. I didn't know how to leave Nairobi, but I said I'd walk at least to where we lived. I knew the neighbors would welcome me at least and help me. They were shocked to see this young kid and asked me, we heard your father has died. What are you doing here? Does your mother know you are here? There was no communication in those days to call. I told them I'd come for some sugar. They were kind enough to look for sugar. The neighbors all got together and they packed a bag of 20 kilos and said, you must go back. That night I was on the bus back home. My mother was crying. She was worried, sick, but she was also relieved to see me. I remember her hugging me until today. That hug was so tight. She was angry, but she was so happy to see me. She had tears in her eyes. And the bonus, I had brought the sugar. They couldn't believe I'd brought the sugar. The neighbors came. There was celebration where we were staying. We were living in a place in Bokoto. All of them came to celebrate. When they saw 20 kilos of sugar, everybody wanted some sugar. So we agreed, let's sell some of this sugar because we needed money, pocket money to go back to school anyway. And they were happy. And from that day I became a man because I had brought something home. It had transformed me, the act of bringing sugar and pleasing people and then selling some and getting money. Of course, that night I was on my way back to Akamba to bring some more sugar. And that's how I began my business career, trying to fill a gap in the world. Life has had its challenges, and it made me see things quite early as a young man. I grew up and I accepted responsibility, I accepted leadership. I've looked around and seen how our country has moved and tried to make a role, a small role, without getting into mainstream politics. How can I play a role to help my society? I first had to, of course, deal with my family. How can I help give them security? My community. How can I create jobs? Today I see the challenge we have as a country. Unless we create jobs for our children, unless we create opportunities that will give them hope and help them get along, they will be stuck in the quagmire that I was too. We need to make it easier for our people to transform if we are going to achieve this vision of 2040. There's a big gap between the reality and our aspirations. And we can make a difference as Ugandans if we all come together and rise the challenge. We need to create jobs. That's the number one thing this government and the private sector must work on. Jobs make people feel worthy individuals and citizens. In their community, they feel worthy. In their country, they can play a role. Jobs make a country feel worthy as a player in the global space. Jobs give us money, of course, for our day-to-day needs. But most importantly, jobs give us dignity. When a child goes through school for 6 years at secondary school and 3 years through university, and then spends the next 3 years looking for a job, slowly their dignity is eroded every single day. The girl child finds a way for survival. The boys find their ways into crime. We've got to do something about it. We need to look for jobs, to create for these jobs, to provide an environment that is conducive for jobs. I could go on and on, but today is a day for us to recognize the role of children. All I can say is the private sector in Uganda is fully behind this initiative and will do everything to rise to the challenge to support you. I thank you all.
Maybe we didn't do justice in introducing His Excellency Patrick Bitta today, and I must mention His Excellency because he's the Honorary Consul of Australia to Uganda. He's also chairman of the Simba Group of Companies and chairman of several boards across in this country. He has investments in Kenya and Tanzania. I could go on and on. So that is who he is. In his humble presentation, I'm sure you noted he stayed away from bragging about what he has done, because that's who he is. And Patrick, we want to thank you so much for your humility and your honesty while giving us this presentation. I also wanted in a special way to recognize the members of the Uganda Manufacturers Association who are here. I know the manager policy and advocacy is here representing the team. Thank you so much for being part of this group. All right, we have very few minutes for our panel discussion. So I want to quickly introduce our members of the panel to try and put a face to the numbers given to us by Jaya and Hilda, but also discuss solutions and a way forward in this discussion around the PPPs. All right, so allow me welcome James Kabogoza. He's Assistant Commissioner in the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, responsible for children. James, please take a seat. Please welcome James, ladies and gentlemen. Also welcome Mr. Ashaba Hannington. He's Assistant Commissioner from the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development in the Department of Project Analysis and PPPs. The right person to have here with us. Ashaba. Also joining Kabogoza and Ashaba is the Gracious Yiga. He's the Development Management Consultant with the Development Links Consult. The Gracious Yiga, thank you so much. He's known to many as a children's rights activist, an author, but also an education consultant. Bwana Fajil Monday. And unfortunately, I must say, the only lady on the panel, Dr. Maggie Chigozi, please do come. I am certain you will have more airtime than the men on this panel. I will try and make sure we do that. We'll try and keep this extremely short, and then we'll take some questions from you. So hoping all these microphones are on. If I could have the other two cordless microphones, and then we could officially begin. I'm certain a couple of you are mic'd already, so I'll probably begin with James. James, if I could start with you from the ministry, because you're responsible for the children. What UNICEF and, of course, the Private Sector Foundation has begun today is to actually supplement on what you're already doing as a ministry. So you want to share with us the key priority areas that maybe government would want addressed by this partnership to start off. He has a microphone. It's okay.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate what is happening here today, and it's something that we have always wanted for a long time. Just to make sure that we get everybody to understand that the only way we can develop this country is by investing in children and making sure that our children are ready to take over the economy and running the business of this country. And you can only do that if you concentrate on the areas where things are not doing well. And in most cases, looking at the statistics that they have presented today, and looking at how the statistics affect the children, especially in their early age, we think it is really very important for us to start putting resources in early childhood development and making sure that we get children who have the brains, who have the capacity, and you get somebody whom you can impart on skills and is able to take them and able to lead and take over from you when you've left the country. We've been doing quite a number of things, but one of the biggest issues we're looking at is the child protection systems in the country. We've done a mapping of the child protection system, and we've discovered that there are very serious gaps, both at national, at district, and community level. And we think that if we strengthen our child protection systems at this level, especially at district, community, and sub-county and community level, then we would be able to place a system that can easily identify problems with our children and be able to address their own problems within the families and everywhere. Because the problem of children actually starts from the family itself. The poverty we are talking about is not at our level. It is within those particular families. And if families are not able to provide the services that we require, then the statistics that we see that has been presented this morning happen. So we are concentrating very much on the child protection systems. We have developed a child protection strategy which we are soon going to release, but we have also developed other strategies to support this. We have for instance, right now we have a strategy to end child marriage and teenage pregnancies, reducing teenage pregnancies, because we have also realized that contributes to the kind of statistics you see, infant mortality rates and all these other things. And we are also looking at quite a number of other activities that will contribute to the strengthening of the child protection system, and then we'll be able to address the issues we are talking about. Most of the statistics you see here is the statistics that is a result of protection issues, things that are not happening at community level, things that are not happening within our families, and then they lead to this. And there's a tendency, for instance, when we talk about investing in children, that you start an argument and they say there's a lot of money going into universal education, there's a lot of money going into primary health care, there's a lot of money going into other things. But then, even there, when you see the money that is being invested, it's not able to cover the problem that you find in those particular sectors. But when you come to child protection, the child protection is software for all the others. There's very little money that is being invested there. So our argument is that if we strengthen investment in all these other areas, including health, including education, including social protection and child protection, then we'll be able to to reduce the problems that we are seeing that are on our board. And we can only do that if we are working together, both government, civil society organizations, and the private sector.
The reason we have this dialogue today. Yeah. James, thank you very much. Let me come to you for Jill Monday. You've been a proponent of early childhood development, and you've authored several books about this. This, as James says, must begin at home. How much are parents involved in the development of their children? There's Mike here.
Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the Private Sector Foundation for bringing us together. I have been working closely with them as one of the facilitators on this common cause of early childhood development. We've moved around banks, and I'm sure we shall continue.
Apologies, please go ahead, please. We are safe.
Okay. We are safe. Good. And we shall continue coming round even to your places of work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start like this. I got fairly scared, as Mr. Bitatura has said, at the figures produced by UNICEF. And just by the show of hands, how many of you truly got scared by those statistics? Very good. Congratulations, UNICEF. Because if people are not scared, they cannot be challenged to take the next step. Some people say you must be annoyed enough for you to take a new action. I hope, and I want to begin with this point, that those of you who are in this room, you are annoyed enough and you will gently but firmly take action. Yes? Number two, with the same figures as we were seated there, I had a neighbor who said, is this all happening when we have workers in Uganda? I don't know how many of you felt that. And by the way, some of us are those workers. But I noted that really a lot of mess can take place in a country, and it is taking place in our country because some of us who are put in positions are not doing our job. I want to plead with you that all of us who are here and we have positions, let us take action now. We don't expect people from outside to come and take the action. They can support us. I hope I'm reaching your souls. Number two, this is not advertisement. One of the problems which parents have at home is that they don't have the knowledge and skills, and that's why personally I do a lot of parenting. I think 2015 I've done about 150 seminars and workshops on parenting. There is a critical problem with parenting. And I am a writer of books. They are outside there. That's why I said this is not a mere gimmick of salesmanship. Parents need to improve their skills and knowledge on how to look after children. Parents have asked me at a certain forum, say, I was not properly parented myself, Mr. Monday. What can I do? One of the things I tell them, and I'm asking you to, is to read books about parenting, and also to check with those who know, okay? And also to have seminars to improve your abilities. These books are all on education and parenting and DVDs. I would not show you them, but they are all on display outside there. I want to talk also on the challenge at home, the challenge of time, ladies and gentlemen. First, I have checked and I have researched. On the average, every worker spends more than 12 hours at the place of work, wherever you are working, banking or whatever, whether you're a headmaster or a school teacher. Now, 12 hours leaves you, that's 50% of your time. That means you really don't have time to do parenting. You don't. Because at home you do a lot of other things. But at the same time, the child is actually 20 years away from a mother and a father by the time they finish university. 3 years, pre-primary, 7 years, primary, 6 years, A, O, and A level, and 3 years on the average at the university. That's 20 years, which is nearly 50% of life expectancy in Uganda. So the question is, do we have really people who are parented enough? And my answer is no. That's probably why we have all these messes taking place in Uganda, according to the statistics, because we never got the right people to do the right jobs, because we were not well parented, definitely. So that's challenge number one. The parents must find time at home, not only during the early 5 years, because we already have been told, ladies and gentlemen, if the brain is being wired during those first years and something goes wrong, the child has gone wrong. He will be uncorrectable. You need to be there. How? It is up to you, by redesigning your lifestyle and your time management. So there is the challenge of time at home. And two, because the parents are not there, there is another matter. Men have generally absconded from parenting in Uganda. Most of you who are here, ladies and gentlemen, you have attended school days, concerts, and so on. It's only the mothers. Most of them are there. And I want us to clap for the mothers of this country. And I want at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, to challenge the men out there and here. I have met students at university level, ladies and gentlemen, who have never felt the warmth of a man's chest because daddy has never been there. He's so busy. If you are not going to be there next time, don't try a baby. You better stop there. Definitely. So I would like to challenge the men. Every child needs the father and the mother to grow well. We have the man, the female elements, all of us. The girl child needs the father, the boy child needs the father, and so do they need the mother. That's why it has been calculated 63% of the lives of our children are the mothers, because they are there all the time. Men, I challenge you. I am a father of 6 children, and now I'm a grandfather of 17 grandchildren. I know what it means to lose a child out of carelessness because you are absent. Number 3, I would like to say that the school does influence the home so much. I've already said, ladies and gentlemen, that in every year, 8 months, the child is at school. But the question is, what is the child going through at school? This is another challenge, all right? The school now, according to research, is 75 time is used for doing examinations. 75%. Where is the time for growing in the school? You realize also, ladies and gentlemen, 8 months every year means that the child spends more time at school. Therefore, the school has got to play a different role now, like it used to do, but it's more urgent now. There is another phenomenon taking place in the schools, ladies and gentlemen. All of you know, viewers and those of you here, when a child is growing, they are active. They are dismantling insects. They are pulling things together. They are peeping through the holes. They want to know. They want to participate. They want to learn. When a child goes to school, the first thing that happens to them is a shrinking process. The child ceases from doing all those activities. Recall your primary school days, ladies and gentlemen, when there was music, dance, and drama, and there was sports, all of you wanted to take part. At least I saw that when I was headmaster of Old Kampala, Kitanta, and Aga Khan. When the children go to secondary now, from senior 1, they begin to shrink. They don't want to take part anymore in anything. About a year ago, I was in a secondary school with 1,600 children, boys and girls, and I was a guest of honor at a sports day. I counted only 8 children out of 1,600 who took part in the sports. I talked to the headmaster. I said, where are the rest? The rest were not participating. You find by the time you reach senior 6, the boy or girl has really dried up. He has shrunk. They don't know how to walk. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to look. They don't know how to carry their bodies. They have shrunk. And shrunk as they are is how they reach the university. No wonder we get shrunken university graduates who cannot do jobs very well. Because the phenomena, that's a phenomena at the school, ladies and gentlemen. So I would like to use this opportunity to appeal to all people in schools. School must change now, not tomorrow. We must move away from examinations only to making human beings. That's another challenge. Of course, the other challenge connected with the absence of parents is that generally, whether you're a rich parent or a poor parent, the children are in the hands of house girls. You find an engineer's son, daughter, with nothing engineering about them, but only like the house girl, like the gatekeeper. So the children are in the hands of these people, and I'm not at all dismissing the house girls. Some of them are better than some parents, by the way. I've seen house girls singing a song to a child where mother cannot sing a song, even where daddy is not there to play with the boy. Are you getting me? So the children are either in the hands of house girls or watching TV. Now these days I see children who walk and laugh and walk and speak like cartoons which they watch. And many parents are very proud. My child loves a cartoon. If your child loves a cartoon, that means the child is going to become a cartoon whether you like it or not.
Fajil, I'm sure you would go on and on. Okay? I'm sure you would go on and on. I will. Fajil, thank you very much. I was really hesitant to stop you. We could go on and on, but I wanted to invite the others to say one or two things. They're gracious. Fajil sets the tone for you. He's raised the issue of early childhood development at home and now at school. But looking at the numbers and looking at what Jai was presenting, even with enrollment at just 10%, you have Kampala. Okay, let's say the greater, Kampala metropolitan at 62%. But if you have Karamoja, 6%, West Nile, 5%, our children are actually not going to school. We must begin somewhere, surely, to address the crisis.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Maurice, and I want to thank the organizers of this important dialogue for giving us a very unique opportunity to really reflect from a different perspective on what we are doing for our children. For some of us, and many of you in the room, who have spent a lot of time talking about well-being of children from the perspective of children's rights, I think the new concept of investing in children gives us a fresh and new perspective with which we can begin to think about and frame our actions probably in a different way. The statistics that have been shared, and grateful to UNICEF and the ministry for putting this together, because statistics, as it were, don't lie. They are very powerful. The danger, though, is that, especially talking to the private sector, who constitute the majority in this room, is for us to get the calculators and try to bang in the figures and, look at the issue of children from a purely mathematical dimension. And it's extremely true that if we are going to use the language of investing in children, and if the private sector is going to invest, the assumption is that it must make economic sense. That is absolutely true. However, there is a risk. What if you sit down and bang in the figures and it doesn't add up? Is investment in children purely an economic issue? I want to appeal to our humanity as well. Of course it must make economic sense, but as Patrick said, this is an issue that goes beyond sheer economics. Even if it didn't make economic sense, I think it is important to invest in children. There are 3 key imperatives for investing in children. The first one, of course, and the easier one to understand, is the economic imperative. And I think that has been well articulated by the presentations this far. But we also have a legal imperative as leaders in public and the private sector, globally, continent-wise, and nationally, to invest in children. If you are a leader, wherever you are, even in your family, we have a legal obligation to protect, to invest in the well-being of children. It's not a matter of choice. It's not a matter of charity. We are not being charitable. We have a duty and a legal obligation. There is also a social imperative. With more than half of the population being children, is it just that we adults should have the first call on the country's resources? Obviously, it's unjust. So if you're talking about equity, justice, children should have the first call on our resources. But don't talk about investing in children and all the data that has been presented. We can categorize the investment from two perspectives. One is provisions, the things we must provide, and those have been articulated. We must have the hospitals equipped with drugs. We must have the schools, the desks, the books. And that probably is easy to understand, and the figures should be convincing to all of us. But the other dimension that has been very difficult for many actors, including policymakers, is the second dimension, which is about how, as a society, as adults, we relate with our children. That is less understood, but more problematic. And that resonates with the issue that James raised, what we call about child protection. Because as adults, we have a lot of power over young people, over children. They are very dependent on us and the decisions we make in our private lives and in the public realm. Many a time we abuse this power. And because we can't do this, because we can't mistreat them, then we do. We abuse the power and the trust that we have over children. So over and above the significant and substantial investments we must make by way of provisions, we must also think about the relational dimensions, how we relate with children, as teachers, as parents, as employers, because this significantly also shapes the outcomes. It is okay, and I am grateful to the private sector. They've been making significant investments, supporting construction of schools, but you must also be interested in how the children in this school are treated. The private sector is making significant investment in running schools. Most of the schools are run by the private sector. But abuse and maltreatment is happening within the same schools. And this will also affect the outcomes that we see for our children. And for us in the private sector, because I'm also now in the private sector, you know, if you look at the HR department and what they are struggling with many times, we are trying to get resourceful, confident, creative employees. Now, these are not products of a process, of a child-rearing process that is intimidating, that is violent, that is abusive. They are products of a process, of a parenting and educational process that is empowering, that is respectful of children. And this is an area which I think has confounded the investment for both the government as well as the private sector. So I'll be grateful if moving forward as a private sector, we can try to unpack this issue of child protection, what it means, and its importance in ensuring the total outcomes, because these two are indivisible. We must provide, but we also must relate and promote programs that ensure that society, that our employees, that our communities relate with children that in a manner that enables them to grow up safe, confident, and prepare them well for the responsibilities that come with adults.
Thank you very much, De Gracias. All right. I only think it's right that we discuss the girl child. And Dr. Maggie, here's where you come in. And feel free to make it a general discussion. It doesn't have to be really just about the girl child. But going by Jaya's numbers again, and if you're on social media and if you're just watching us, the hashtag is Invest in UG Children. We'll try and pick one or two questions from there during our Q&A session. Now, the numbers, Dr. Maggie, are nearly 50% of those between the ages of 20 and 49 years old. The women were married by the age of 18, and 15% were married by the age of 15. Here's where the problem actually begins. Even as we drive the campaign to end early marriage, there must be community involvement in driving the fight against early childhood marriage and the fight to have or promote the girl child and have her actually graduate.
Absolutely, Maurice. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll start by thanking the organizers It has always been my dream. I belong to both sides. I belong to civil society. I belong to private sector. It has always been my dream that we shall get you to talk. And today it happened. So thank you, PSFU. Thank you, UNICEF. The girl child. This is the child that has 3 times the problem that other children have. This is a child that our patriarchal system has put on a lower level. This is a child that people want to use in various ways sexually. They want to marry them at early ages. Parents want to get rid of them because they eat, because, you know, we can't afford it, we are poor, we can get some money. So this is a child that's also on demand. There is a market for this child, and therefore this is a child that must be specially protected. This is a child that can make a difference in this world. We have seen what the leaders do, given a chance to lead when they are women. The contribution they make to this nation as mothers who are economically empowered, what they can do in all positions. So this child requires special attention. Even as we want to do this for all children, we want to ensure that they are all protected, but in a very special way. The girl child must be looked at differently because of our history, because of our culture. Things like FGM that never seem to end. They talked about 95% in one tribe that actually undergo FGM. This is criminal. Over 50% were married before they were 18, some as early as 12 or 10. They get all kinds of diseases. So yes, protection of this particular group is absolutely key. And as private sector, what can we do? What can we do as private sector? First of all, I'm glad you got the data. This data has been in the public. This data has been available. And I want to criminalize civil society who are here, because I've been talking to you. You talk to yourselves. You have the data. You do the research. You are partnering with UN Women and UN UNICEF, and you don't share this information. The private sector, you heard it. Chairman PSFU. Private sector here saying, we did not know this data. So can we begin to share? Can we begin to work together so that everybody is aware of this? Now, private sector, a very powerful group. If they are aware, they can make a huge difference in many ways. In investing in children, we've talked about economically, but now touch the heart of the private sector as well. It's not just about money. I think you heard Patrick. It did not touch his pocket. It touched his heart. The data did not touch his pocket. But in future it probably will touch his pocket. But it touched his heart. And he wanted to do something. We do, as private sector, we do want to do something. But we also are very, very busy people. So can you tell us what is the best thing? In what way can we contribute? I think that's a question that's going to come back at us from the private sector. So already private sector is best placed. We are the ones that pay the taxes and therefore want to hold government accountable to what percentage was invested in children, what percentage was invested in education, how well was that money used. Those are all accountability issues that we as the taxpayers would like to hold government and other players accountable for. We are the ones that create the jobs, that the parents can be better parents. They can contribute. What types of jobs do we create? We need to understand the labor laws, social security, health for our workers, and therefore for the children of our workers. There's a lot that we can do. We invest in the schools, and somebody's queried the quality of our schools. I must admit I'm a little bit proud. Most of our schools are really good. So, you know, you question that, but we do have very good schools as well. And we are proud of that. But can all our private schools and health units be better? Look at the rights of the children. What are the children have a right to? They have a right to security. Is that being provided by the private sector as well? Will they have a right to health, nutrition? Is there food there? We produce the food as the private sector. Even the smallholder farmer is a business person. You just need to look at them as that. And we produce the food that the children eat. What kind of food are we producing as private sector that will ensure that our children are healthy? Corporate social responsibility. Private sector does a lot of this. They've built schools. They've contributed books, libraries, computer labs. We do a lot, but maybe PSFU, we need to take a lead here and be able to guide private sector on key CSR activities that would benefit the children more than anybody else. We need more private sector. There should be more of us so that we can contribute more in every way. Can we be more? The challenge is again thrown back at government. The investment climate is not perfect. We are working, yes, on infrastructure. It's not in place yet. What about the institutions, the URA, all the other institutions that support the private sector? Are they well facilitated? Are they capable? What about the peace and security? 2016 is round the corner. Can we trust as private sector? Can I now go and start a new business today knowing that it'll be okay? And maybe those are the questions that we as government as well, I sometimes say I'm still government, we as government need to make sure the investment climate is right for our small enterprises especially to be able to thrive. So Maurice, I have said too much. Economic empowerment, I think, of both women and men, parents, would actually help a great deal in facilitating and investing in Uganda's children.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. I only thought that it was right that the man from the Ministry of Finance holds the final word. And he's from the right department, the Department of Project Analysis and PPPs. All right, Ashaba. Not so long ago, UNICEF released very interesting and startling statistics. It actually did show that per capita per child, in the case of UPE and sometimes USE, did not actually give you a return on investment, if I can call it that, for lack of a better word. We actually did see that in areas where a little more money was spent by government per child, say in Karamoja or even West Nile, you were getting less output, right? I'm hoping, Jaya, I'm right. We were getting less from actually children who were getting more support from government. So you had areas where government money was going to key sectors like health and education, and so the per capita per child was higher than, say, in the central region, but you still had better performance in central region against those areas that would be hard to reach areas. So clearly money is not the answer. You may have a solution.
Yeah, thank you very much, Morris. Of course, presenting last after these eminent panelists or discussants presents its own challenges beyond the constraints of the topic itself. But I'll do my best and see what value I can add beyond what they have so far raised. Let me also begin by applauding the presenters, particularly the two topical presentations, one on the situation analysis of the children in the country, but more importantly, as an official from the Treasury, the business case presentation. And there, that's where I will make some few remarks, not many, because it was a good presentation on the next steps and the way forward. The two presentations are good to me because then they present a case which we could package, or if well packaged, can compel more resource allocations because such statistics, which are evidence-based, are very good for policymakers in resource prioritization, but also allocation. But tying that to what the moderator Morris raised, what is startling is showing that resources are not the panacea. They are not the magic bullet. You then need rationalization even within the existing or available budgets to achieve even more outcome. Because we are seeing that even with increased budget allocations, you are not getting proportionate outcomes in terms of efficient outcomes. So these statistics, from a broader sense, are very, very good. What we might need to do then as stakeholders is how we can take them forward so that they can shape the agenda for policy and budgetary allocations. This is so, and more important, in light of the infrastructure, social service, budgetary rationalization. Currently, when you look at the NDP, but also most of the policy pronouncements, you will realize that the rationalization is going towards infrastructure development or closing infrastructure gaps, generally speaking. But what we are seeing from research and this literature is that this is not enough. In fact, the business case would even have gone further to give us comparative statistics in countries which we see high correlations between their growth and investments in early childhood. That could also make their case better. Having given that background, let me also give some insights to how we can tap on the already existing, though nascent, legal, policy, institutional, but also regulatory. I call it nascent because the PPP, and I'm focusing this, Mr. Moderator, on the PPP so that we can see how to tap into that. As you're aware, we already have a PPP policy, and this was adopted actually in 2010. To progress it, we were supposed to have a PPP Act. This act was assented to by the President this year. So now we have the Public-Private Partnership Act of 2015. This now gives us the legal framework to leverage private sector participation in investment generally in the economy, but more particularly in this key aspect of investing in the children. But we must take opportunities in order to tap from this legal framework. So therefore, I would want to call upon particularly the civil society, but also the private sector, to put some pressure on government so that some of these key aspects of investing in the children are progressed and taken care of. I'll give you an example. Those of you who have followed the advocacy for gender and equity budgeting, you know the good work and influence some of the CSOs, like FOWODE, Forum for Women Development, CSBAG now, have had on government policy and programs. They have been so effective to the extent that they even influenced the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. That act, and actually it also presents another opportunity window for us to tap into, has a clause that mandates that all government policies, all government budget allocations in form of framework papers must have a certificate of financial implications, certificate of gender and equity financial implications. Now, because the civil society has been focusing more on gender, although when you broaden the definition of gender, then you also include the children, the vulnerable, and the elderly. But we need to take it, I think, as stakeholders now interested in young children, so that this certificate is broadened not only to look at the other aspects of gender, which generally are looking at the inequalities between women and men. So I will try to conclude more by emphasizing that to move forward then, we shall need sector-specific policies. This is so because PPP investment in social sectors, and more so in young children, poses its unique and has its own specific requirements. You will not base on economic returns or the favorable economist net present value, because it will be negative sometimes. So we need to go further and look at social returns. And to do that, we might need either one, standalone social sector policies, like Ministry of Health, which adopted one, and I am reliably informed that they have now progressed to developing guidelines after approval of Cabinet of their policy. But we also need other policies in ICT, in health, in education, in housing, in gender, labor and social development, so that we can further augment some of these interventions. Therefore, by doing that, I believe that those interventions will tap into the skills and the comparative advantage of both the public and private sector, so as to leverage and enhance the extent and quality of service delivery for children interventions. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ashaba. Thank you so much. All right, very quickly, I want to come here, and I will be very mean, so I'll grant us only 5 minutes on this side, because I've requested for only an extension of 15 minutes, so we are out of here at exactly 5:15. So I'll have 5 minutes. The first hand up is right there at the back. Your name, make it very brief, if it's a comment or a question, and if it's a question, tell us who you're asking this question. Keep it very short. If you keep it under 30 seconds, then I'll allow one or other two people to contribute. Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Okanyu Manton Bernard from CRY Uganda, Conflict Resolution by Youth. My question is to the representative from Ministry of Gender. What is happening with the Karamoja crisis? Every single day there are many children in the streets from Karamoja. What is happening? Is there a strategy that government is intending to resettle these people back? We need an answer, because every single day that's going on. And then the last question is to the Treasury. Treasury, as we speak right now, there are mothers in the police cells and there are mothers in the prison cells with children. Do you have an allocation on the caretaking of these children in the prison cells? Thank you.
All right, that's a bit short. All right, next, there's a gentleman next to him there. I don't see the ladies. Yes, I have seen a lady there. All right.
My name is Chimba Msisi. I'm from the National Cultural Center. I'm just wondering, the statistics are scaring, but as Mr. Faju Mande was pointing out, there is a problem of translation. If the statistics remain in offices of the big people, of the big gentlemen, but down on us, down there, people don't get it. Given the structures which Mr. Kabogoza was talking about, if they are established and these people get them, then they can change. There's no way you can change, there's no way you can have behavioral change when somebody does not understand the problem, because the language you are using they don't know it or they don't understand it. So there is a language gap in the statistics which can be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Lady, there's a lady there. Yes. And then we have another lady on this side.
Thank you so much. I'm Grace from USO. My question is, right now we have Karamoja children. This goes to the Ministry of Gender, and thank you that we are partnering with you to improve the Karamoja street kids. How are we going to stop this trafficking of the children from Karamoja? That's my simple question.
Thank you. I think it's related to question one. Yes, there's two ladies here and there, right there. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much. My name is Nabasa Innocent. I am from NBS TV. My question is, we are talking about investing in children. But to me, I think it should be a way around. Invest in the children, then support the children. When the children are out of school, the parents have invested in them. But what happens after school? The blame always goes back to the children, but somehow I think maybe government is also not playing a role in supporting the children. I'm glad this was organized by private sector foundation. But out there are very many people who would want to come out and maybe give back to the parents that have invested in them. I am saying this maybe because of an example whereby I think on Tuesday a certain government body was condemning a private body that came out for a cause, maybe to support government, in particular tourism. Most of you must have watched it on TV. And I'm like, if government is actually condemning the private sector, where are we headed? We need to do it a way round. Let it be a circle, let it be continuous. Invest in the children, support the children so that they can also invest in their children. Thank you so much.
All right. Another lady there. I'll take for now the final question. Yes. Or comment.
Thank you so much. I'm called Jane Bainomtisha. I work with the National Youth Council. Mine is not a question, it's a contribution. Yes, we need to invest in the children of Uganda. But since they are the future drivers, future youth drivers of this nation, if they are well nurtured. Now, when is the time? I mean, I think the time is today or the time is now. We need to have a strong or create a strong coordination between the private sectors, going down to the culture and the community so that we can fight all this. I feel so hurt when the government, everything is thrown to the government. Yes, we have a role to make, but remember, we are the government, all of us, we are the government. We need to have a strong coordination because when you throw everything to the government, now, what about us here? What role have you done in the investment of the Ugandan children? So, because if you can well remember, in this year's International Youth Day, we have that. The theme was that we are the investment choices we make. So let us, as parents or the community members, let us remind our youth and our children who are later going to be the youth that they are the tomorrow's. They are the investment choices that they make. Other than throwing everything to the government, throwing everything to this and this, let us have the strong concerted effort. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Kabogoza, you had just you and Ashaba who had questions, but I'll ask any of the panel members to say something. I'll start with you, James. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think the first question was on what is happening to the Karamoja children. And this is a question we've always been answering in every forum like this. We have a street children strategy. And the street children strategy actually targets children from Karamoja because 80% of the street children we have on the streets are actually from Karamoja. The strategy is implemented in different, we have what we call immediate interventions that have got to happen. But we also have long-term interventions. And the long-term interventions are the ones addressing the push factors. Because children move away from Karamoja with their families, specifically, originally it was security, because there was a lot of insecurity, but also there is also recurrent famine that goes on, especially during dry spells. And people don't have food, so they keep moving to other places to look for especially in the neighboring districts, but also reaching as far as Kampala. So in terms of addressing, we needed to address issues of making sure food is available, making sure there is water in that place, and the infrastructure. And all these are done with the ministries that we work with, and one of them is the Prime Minister's office, and also Ministry of Agriculture, then security, and quite a number of things have changed ever since they appointed a minister in charge of that place. And some of these things are changing, and more people are staying there, and there's more food that is going on. But in terms of immediate, we have to keep moving the children from the streets, and then we work with them and then resettle them back with their families. Originally, we used to take these children to institutions where they would stay while we are counseling and they're telling us what to do. But right now we have constructed and renovated Koblin Youth Development Center. And we're taking the children there. Then we work with the families where they came from and impart some skills so that before you resettle them, then they have a skill they can actually use and they stay back. So we are trying to implement this, but we have to implement it with all the stakeholders, because it's not only a one ministry issue.
All right.
It is all the other ministries as well.
Yes, Ashaba?
And other sectors.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on now. I think it was a question a colleague asked about whether as Treasury we give allocations to police and prison cells, particularly targeted for young children or
mothers with children.
Mothers with children.
Or mothers confined with children.
Yeah, my
yes.
answer would be yes. Maybe what I would add is the issue of efficiency. Even the little that is given, does it really achieve better returns? Maybe the other one would be prioritization. Does the police or even prisons prioritize investing in these welfare interventions? Because I know they have welfare departments, but do these welfare departments go down and cascade into investing in mothers that have children? And that's why I call upon all of us to create a critical mass that can take this agenda forward the same way we have had the critical mass for gender and equity budgeting and inclusive budgeting. If we do that, I think these are issues moving forward that can be addressed. I thank you.
Thanks, Ashaba. Let me begin with you, De Gracious. 30 seconds. Your final words on the way forward.
I think as leaders, and I want to talk to us as leaders, I think we need to bridge a major disconnect. When we talk about investing in children, I think the people in this room know what it means to invest in children in their private lives. I'm sure all of us here make substantial investments in our children. But then what happens when we move out of our private lives into our public spaces? When we become members of parliament, when we become ministers, when we become board directors of companies, and then we don't bring the level of investment and the conviction into this realm. And I think that is one of the processes of translating what somebody raised, the statistics, the awareness of these statistics into actual reality. So let us, with the same enthusiasm, with the same concern, and with the same passion with which we invest in our, in quotes, our children, because all children are our children, we need to apply that to the children of Uganda. Thank you.
All right, for Jill Monday.
Just 2 points. Ladies and gentlemen, when the statistics normally are read, a lot of people think these are for the poor, for the rural, for the villagers. These statistics apply also to the middle class and the well-to-do family. If these very statistics do not apply, these children are suffering from a lot of other problems. Number two, I just want to emphasize simple activities that private sector can carry out. One, you can hold seminars and workshops for your parents on parenting. Number two, you can start parents clubs at your place of work. Number three, you can run small little places with qualified people to look after some of your workers' babies. And then, of course, lastly, I want to say you need a cheaper labor force, not imported labor force. You need to invest it. Number two, you need living people, not dying people, to continue consuming your services and products. Ladies and gentlemen, let us invest in early childhood in our children to build Uganda to compete in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Maggie.
Thank you, Maurice. There was a comment from government about what have others done. And I think this is our challenge here today. Also, we don't want to say that government has done enough, but that all of us working together, prioritizing this issue of investing in children together and seeing who plays what role. The government obviously must improve the investment climate so you have more business people and they are able to contribute to even simple things like taxes, which are then used for the education, the jobs, improving, and investing in the schools and early education, agriculture so we can feed our children, hospitals and security as well, we invest in that. But civil society has done a wonderful job of advocacy. They do a wonderful job of research and finding out what the issues are. But can we come together? Can we discuss your findings together? Can government know what you're talking about? Can private sector as well know what you're talking about and what issues you want us to address so that together we find solutions? So mine is just to thank UNICEF, thank government, thank all of you who are here, the private sector, especially PSFU, for bringing us together and to say, in Luganda gachali mabaga, this is the first step. We need to move on from here and actually get solutions.
Yes, Ashawa.
My final remark, Mr. Moderator, is to emphasize to the audience that at an institutional level, we are building capacity to support public-private partnership engagements. In order to operationalize the policy, the PPP policy and law, we've set up a PPP unit. So we have resident capacity which you can tap in if you are developing concepts on PPP, but also structuring PPP. But we shall also, moving forward, also be developing capacity on monitoring PPPs in order to enhance their returns. So I call upon the private sector, they could tap into us. Our doors are open. These could be unsolicited PPP proposals. We shall make them solicited generally and structure them better, but we can also give you advice on whether some interventions merit PPP modality of financing or the traditional budgetary allocations. I thank you.
James, you have the final word. Yes.
Thank you very much, Maurice. There was something on coordination.
And communication.
And communication. One of the reasons why we are here is because as a ministry, we have what we call a child protection working group. And this child protection working group is both government and non-government civil society organizations. Some of the work that you see that has brought us together is specifically because of this group working with UNICEF and the private sector foundation to bring us together and be able to champion this. One of the things that has already happened is that we had a meeting with the sector ministries and looked at the same things we've been looking at now, just this week. And one of the things we have agreed is that within 1 month we are coming up with a framework, each sector providing what it expects the private sector to contribute to, and trying to put them in a framework which we can then work together as government, UNICEF, civil society organization, the private sector foundation, and see how we can continue implementing and fulfilling whatever commitments we have made. So the work, Gachari Mabaga, as
Dr. Maggie says.
Dr. Maggie has said, we are still continuing and we're pursuing this. We are still interested in this because I know with all the commitments that we see here, it can work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our panel. You may now take your seats. James, Ashawa, Dr. Maggie, Fajil, and Gracious. Many thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a couple of minutes and we must request for your indulgence in completing our program. May I now invite USAID on a brief on the USAID National Forum on the state of Ugandan children. So may I now invite the Deputy Mission Director, Mark, to say one or two words.
All protocols observed. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good. I'm glad you're awake. I'm very honored to be here. I want to thank the organizers for the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the National Child Forum. We are organizing this for October 27th. Next slide. I've only got 2 minutes instead of the 5 minutes, so this is what I'm going to talk about. So I got 4 messages for you this afternoon, and first of all, let me just say how very proud I am to be in the company of people who are committed to trying to do something to change the lives of children in Uganda. Thank you all for coming. The situation, and I think many of the things that I'm going to say are a recap of the things that have already been said. So you can take this as repetition, and in a way it honors some of the things that have been said previously. So first of all, the situation of Uganda's children requires your immediate concern, attention, and action. And in relationship to that, let me say a couple of things. One, I really want to applaud the government of Uganda. In the face of these inconvenient political truths about what the state of children is, they are demonstrating incredible courage and leadership, and they should be applauded. But the other aspect of this is that there is no time to lose. This isn't a problem that just started today. So 15-year-olds 10 years ago were 5-year-olds. Where are they now? 5-year-olds today will be 25-year-olds in 2035. So things have already begun. These statistics are not something that just happened. They've been evolving over time. Why? Point number 2. Uganda's systems can't keep up with population growth, and previous gains are fast losing ground. That's all systems. Patrick talked about family systems. Others have talked about government systems. Others have talked about civil society, private sector. All of the systems that we have to deal with to make the country work are getting pressure from all of this population, and they're weakening. We don't have enough money in government. We're not generating enough money in the economy despite all the great growth that's going on to deal with this population. Now, no lesser income country has been able to transit to become a lower middle income country when they have 6 children per mother. None in history. I don't know if Uganda will be the first, but that will be a challenge. So point number 3, given the magnitude of the problems, and problems they are as well as challenges, Uganda requires a national movement of families, communities, business, government, and your leadership. What I've heard today has been music to my ears, and I applaud all of you for your leadership, and I think that leadership needs to continue. So the question is, what will you do when you walk out of this room with the information that you now have? How can we take what we have here and build it into a network to start that movement? So, one of the ways that we want to help with that is on October, we have had some consultations throughout the country and with lots of interest groups, and we have had some serious conversations with the Office of the Prime Minister, who is taking leadership on this issue, and we are trying to organize for October 27th and 28th a national forum on the state of the Ugandan child. We have 1,000 slots for that conference. And we want that forum to present data on where we are. What we have done over this period of time is we are gathering all the data we can on everything that's been happening in Uganda with respect to children, and we want to get it up on a website so anyone can see it. With that information, we want to look at some comparisons, and we also want to look at some solutions. But most important of all, during that forum, we want to launch a national action plan that brings public sector, private sector, civil society, communities, and families together in a common vision and a common purpose, with some very specific lines of action that build on many things that we have, but to get us all moving in the same direction. So it is action that we need. I'm very sorry, we don't need many more policies in Uganda. We need action. Those policies, we need to put them into action and into practice. So we're going to try to have everyone come together and have that conversation. So please, if you're interested in coming, please contact us, and we will do our best to make sure that you participate. And if you are willing to be a sponsor, we are not only going to have this event in Kampala, we are going to take it to the regions of this country and have people in the communities throughout the country come and listen to what this information brings in terms of actions that are required. So thank you all very much for the opportunity. I also have some copies of a presentation. I've left them here on the main table. If you'd like to take one away, it gives a little bit more information about the Child Forum. Thank you, Morris.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. All right. I want you to do just one thing. There's one activity I want members of the private sector to do for me. And if you look on the program which is before you, we have the expression of interest from the private sector executive to support investing in delivering essential services to children in more coordinated and sustained manner. If you look across the room, there are 10 boards with 10 thematic areas of interest: maternal health, child health, HIV and AIDS, water, sanitation and hygiene, early childhood development, primary education, adolescent girls, violence against children and exploitation, disability, and family care. All right, so I hope our ushers are right next to the boards with pens. What we want to do is that we are requesting that you stand, members of the private sector. You will stand and walk to a board of interest. What I also know is that several organizations, corporate organizations here, do have an interest in maybe more than just one. Feel free to also put your company name and sign in of course, to authenticate your participation. And these areas, what happens is then UNICEF and the ministry will come and partner with you in those key areas. So I'll begin probably with the board chair of PSFU, who will walk around and pick any of the areas of interest. We have about 4 minutes to do this activity, and then we'll return for closing remarks from Mondo on behalf of the ministry. Okay. Your Excellency, Patrick, feel free. Any of them, any of the 10 areas can be of interest. And any other members of the private sector, please stand, pick a board of interest, put your company name and sign on behalf of the company. And we will continue this conversation. So, DJ, as you prepare something to keep us entertained, I will request that the members of the private sector feel free, please stand, and then sign. I know we have a lot of members of the civil society, so I'm requesting only the members of the private sector and the corporate organizations represented here. I also think it is right for me to announce that later this evening, only by invitation, we have a meet and greet dinner with Luis Garcia. Now, Garcia was a former Barcelona player who's here in partnership with the Stadiums for Africa, UNICEF and PSFU. A grand dinner, a meet and greet dinner, where again this conversation on investing in Uganda children will be continuing using the same hashtag invest in UG children. So another meet and greet. First it was Patrick Kluivert not so long ago, now Luis Garcia. Again, this is leading up to another grand event in December. And I'm sure I don't want to rein in on Jaya's party by mentioning the details here. Alright, so it's an invite only. You must have an invitation card to attend that dinner at the Sheraton Kampala Hotel. Okay. We have the executive signing on the thematic areas, showing commitment to support these areas. Again, this is for UNICEF and partners to come to you to find ways in which they can work with you in those areas of interest. Again, so you can represent your company, all right? So for those of you who've been watching, this has been a live broadcast brought to you, of course, live on NTV and UBC TV. We can continue the conversation offline. Please share with us. Tweet us, tweet UNICEF, tweet NTV, tweet UBC, and let's continue this conversation on how we can invest in Uganda's children and what those areas of interest should be, and how, if you have any areas of interest you can share with us, please do. And that really would be very helpful. So on behalf of PSFU and UNICEF, we do thank you again for that, you being part of this audience.
NTV, turning on your world.
Up your swag with a Huawei from the best network for smartphones. Buy the Huawei Ascend Y221 at only 160,000 shillings, or the Huawei Ascend Y330 at only 185,000 shillings. Each phone comes with 10 MB free internet bundle daily for 60 days. You will also stand a chance to win more instant prizes when you buy. Get the best deals from Uganda's internet leader. Hurry while stock lasts.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Yeah! I'm a hot young sister, ambitious like a diva. Hey! Superstar, I'm a dreamer. I got that burning desire to keep on rising. To keep on rising, rising. Hey!
Listen, I'm a bobo como wafu yenze.
I'm a mission.
City sigara, city shisha,
City taba.
I'm a bobo como wafu yenze.
We are mission.
City sigara, city shisha,
City taba.
That's sweet.
I'm a mission.
City cigarette, city shisha,
I'm a
smoke, we na pop, cigarette, Cuba. We na mix, we na mingo. Now I don't forget, Ebika, the Tuli Basaga, the Tunyoka, Tuli Jaya, Tuli Bakala. So do la jogenda, when to say vaya, don't you soda, oh, you only winner. City Taba. Yeah, me know.
I'm a mission.
City cigarette, city shisha,
City taba.
I'm ambition mission, City Taba.
Switching to GoTV. Why should you migrate to digital with GoTV? GoTV has the clearest signal in Uganda. GoTV has the strongest signal and greatest sound quality in Uganda. GoTV gives you more than 50 local and international channels. GoTV is the most affordable pay TV in Uganda. For just 34,000 shillings, you get a digital decoder and 1 month of GoTV Plus. GoTV is in more parts of Uganda than any other pay TV in Uganda. So, switching to digital with the right partner. Switching to digital with GoTV.
GoTV, live it, love it.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals sitting up here. What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week? I say they're shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell. At what price? More. Much, much more. I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
This is NTV.
The Beat is brought to you by Pepsi. Live for now.
Zoba mbi mwatu mazaka sera nga nkakumbe gira manyi ntakadde mwatu kaja tusisinkane munkubuze ubuze mwaka buzo obeera otya naye gwe wembasiriwo gwe waweerwako kacayi ne basawo sukali ebeerabira akatiko notetenkanya
kati wobonde se natoni nange just to say ndechika bwe kati kamu zimazima kakubulire okuba kati lero manye so webondya baby akatoka katono tono kolanga katono tono monanga katono tono kolanga katono tono kolanga katono tono monanga katono tono.
When I need motivation, my one solution is my queen, cause she stays strong. Yeah, yeah. She is always in my corner, right there when I wanna. All these other girls are tempting, but I'm empty when you're gone. And they say, do you need me? Do you think I'm pretty? Do I make you feel like cheating? I'm like, no, not really, cause oh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader. She is always right there when I need her. Oh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader. She is always right there when I need her. She walks like a model. She grants my wishes like a genie in a bottle. Yeah, yeah, cause I'm the wizard of love, and I got the magic wand. All these other girls are tempting, but I'm empty when you're gone. And they say, do you need me? Do you think I'm pretty? Do I make you feel like cheating? I'm like, no, not really, cause oh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader. She is always right there when I need her. Oh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader. She is always right there when I need her.
Run away, far away, every day from away.
MTV the
Run
beat.
away, far away, every day from away. That's why I am superior. That's why I am superior. That's why I am superior. Senginimu, muda solengule nina. Ninimu, bawagese kwebe sika. Ninimu, kulembeda de bandirida. Ninimu, senginimu, muda solengule nina. Ninimu, bawagese kwebe sika. Ninimu, kulembeda de bandirida. Ninimu, senginimu, mo Uganda sa big time holiday. Abate sina bambambalide. Kankube chigoma bachiulide. Ninimu, zenginimu, buzat taktika kugambe. Bakubo bugoma goma malumbe. Batumo kukakasa gamba tuze. Ninimu, zenginimu, jagala kubala ganti na wambye. Emi kwe jirume pechange. Jagala bawagisi we mugambe. Muda solengule nina. Ninimu, bawagisi kwe mesika. Ninimu, kulembeda de bandirida. Ninimu, Ninimu, muda solengule nina. Ninimu, bawagese kwebesika. Ninimu, kulembeda de bandirida. Ninimu, listen, Master this miraculous, you know it is spectacular. I'm the lyric Dracula, just like I'm the Dracula. Come here from me cellular, make me know me stamina. Watching at the ear when me Latina be chala. Flash up for no camera, people like a regular. Camille and Jessica, and the dance seminar. Put it in the area, that is my criteria. Remember, that's why I am superior. Muda solengule nina. Ninimu, bawagese kwebesika. Ninimu, kulembeda de bandirida. Ninimu, Ninimu, muda solengule nina. Ninimu, bawagese kwebesika. Ninimu, kulembeda de bandirida. Ninimu, that's why I am superior. Ninimu, that's why I am superior. Ninimu, that's why I am superior.
When I close my eyes and I think of the memory, me and you and me. You used to love me. You used to love me. And baby, I would ride for you, slow wine for you. I would touch my tippy toes, I would bounce it for you. Oh, all the things you used to midnight to sunrise, the love they enter. Touch me now, now, right now, now, now. Do you remember the rain? 'Cause I remember the rain. I wanna feel it right now, 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 now. Touch me, now, 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 right now, 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 now. Do you remember the rain? I wanna drown in the rain. Me want to feel it right now, 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 now. Right now, 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 now. You think I'd leave your side, baby? Oh, Lord have mercy, Lord. I know you're better than that. Ooh, baby, I would ride for you, slow wine for you. Make I touch my tippy toes, make I scatter for you. All the things you used to do. I still remember back in December was the hottest winter. From the sunrise to midnight, the love they enter. That is why I surrender. There is no contender. From the midnight to sunrise, the love they enter. Touch me now, now, right now, 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 now. Do you remember the rain? 'Cause I remember the rain. I wanna feel it right now, 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 now. Touch me, now, 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 right now, 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 now. Do you remember the rain? I wanna drown in the rain. Me want to feel it right now, 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 now. Right now, 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 now. Give me your honey and I put on the show. I'll be a private dancer like I was once before. Spray me with your money, make it fall to the floor. Singing wine, mommy, wine, mommy, wine, mommy, wine. Ooh, how does it feel? Yeah, how does it feel? I still remember back in December was the hottest winter. From the sunrise to midnight, the love they enter. That is why I surrender. There is no contender. From the midnight to sunrise, the love they enter. Touch me now, now, right now, 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 now. Do you remember the rain? 'Cause I remember the rain. I wanna feel it right now, 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 now. Touch me now, 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 right now, 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 now. Do you remember the rain? I wanna drown in the rain. Me want to feel it right now, now, now. Right now, 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 now.
Okay, that's a countdown, of course. That's what you're watching. Sorry, we came in a little late, but they say better late than never. We're live and direct. This is Countdown Thursday, where we just pay tribute to the cream de la cream of videos that are mostly requested on this show. We tally these up in two numbers, from number 10 right until number 1. We're going to just give you a recap of what we already did play. At number 10, we did have Rema Namakula, that is Katonotono. At number 9,
At number 9, we had Cheerleader by Omi.
Okay, Cheerleader at number 9.
At number 8, we had Nyinimu, Peter Miles.
Peter Miles.
Yeah, that's a brand new entry.
All right.
Actually, Peter Miles and Rema are brand new entries.
Okay.
Then
So today we just added 2 songs. That is Peter Miles and Rema Namakula. These are like brand new, and those are the ones that, you know, got onto our countdown this week.
Yeah, number 7, it was Say Shay.
All right.
Big tune right now.
Okay.
Right now.
All right, cool. And of course, we're just remaining with a few other tracks, you know, to wind this up. But on the show today, a couple of friends of mine, they have an event running this weekend. It's called a mixtape party. It's going to be at Lafters, and they've been advertising this. It's all over social media. I don't know if you do know that plot, but if you don't have plot this weekend, that's one place that you need to be at, yeah? Besides Slick Stewart and DJ Roger, my brother Maro tomorrow has a press conference at about like 10 a.m. Still at Lafters. So you go down over there and just hear, you know, what he has planned and organized for us. But first things first, on the show today, I have some Go TV decoders. Yes, I have some Go TV decoders. If you want to win these, yeah, if you want to win these, you know the drill. You just answer a few questions, and today's questions are going to be like this, yeah. Number 1, the first question is, if you want to watch, if you're a fan of wild animals, yeah, which channel do you have to watch on Go TV? If you're a fan of wild animals, which channel do you have to watch on Go TV? That's the first question. The second question is, if you are a fan of soaps, especially the ladies, which channel on Go TV do you have to watch? You understand? 2 questions, answer both of them correctly, you win yourself a decoder instantly, yeah? 1 person on the phone line, 1 person on Twitter, 1 person on Facebook. Question number 1 was, if you're a fan of wild animals, ngoyagala nnyo ebisolo, channel ki gy'obeera olina okulaba ku GoTV. The second question is, if you're a fan of soaps, what channel do you have to watch on GoTV? Those are the 2 questions. Answer them, tag us NTV The Beat, go down on our Facebook, NTV The Beat. We're just going to get the winners later on. But in the building, I do have Slick Stewart and DJ Roger. Welcome to NTV The Beat.
Yeah, what's up, viewers of NTV? What's up,
I do not know how it became a duo or a collaboration, but we shall go straight up into that. Say hello to all the fans, especially those that do follow Slick Stewart.
Yeah, shout out to all my fans who follow DJ Slick Stewart. Yeah.
Okay. The guy who named himself a 7-star DJ, I don't know under which criteria, which awards they were, but he is the 7-star DJ, DJ Roger. Ogambachi.
Tante Basassin, DJ Roger.
Tante Basassin?
Exactly.
Okay, the other one is the...
Ones and twos.
On the ones and twos.
7-star DJ.
7-star DJ, Tante Basassin.
That, yeah.
Say hello to the viewers.
Hello, what's up everyone is viewing NTV. It is nice. DJ Roger, a 7-star DJ.
All right, cool. They have an event coming this weekend. It's powered by Pepsi, and they're just going to tell us the dynamics. Let me go back to Slick a little bit, yeah? Now, Slick, first things first, why is it that you work always 2 of you and not, as I used to know, you working alone and Roger also working alone? Watch my collabo.
Good question. We thought doing me and meeting up with Roger.
Yes.
First of all, we're fans of each other.
Yes.
Secondly, and then we thought this would change the industry.
Yes.
From the discipline, and then how we could avoid the beefs and all that.
Yeah.
So we say we come up with something like this and try and see how it would work. Happy enough, yeah, people are appreciating it.
Okay.
And yeah, it's growing.
All right, cool. You used to work with Silk Events. That's what how I knew you. I hear you no longer work with it anymore.
I do. I'm still Silk Events.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cool. I thought you were so busy right about now to do those kind of gigs.
I can't say I'm still part of Silk Events.
Okay.
Yeah, and to say Silk as a company, yes. I'm still their employee.
All right, cool.
However,
yes,
I can take on some other side gigs.
Ah, okay,
yeah.
Cool. Let me go to DJ Roger. They say you don't play Ugandan music.
Let me first explain that. No, here's the thing. I play UG music, but it depends on where I used to play.
What are your criteria to know it as DJ Roger to know that? Okay, play that one, I won't play that one. What do you look at?
When a song is nice, it's always played. No, here's the thing.
Roger, you've been beaten, not once, not twice, not thrice, not 40. I've never had Slick Stewart being beaten. I've had DJ Roger being beaten. Selector J, help me on this one. That's why I left Selector J.
They know me at
Haven't you ever had so many times DJ Roger being beaten?
I was working in a bar. Yes.
Uganda music.
Katinze ngazo kusaving omuli mugwange kyino genera kwanga ebosa bayakachi abantu balina inako abantu balina ne crowd jaina ayagala music ogemanza nya abimanyi sekteje katinze ndakola ngambala bayita rouge nga boss wanga gamba nze saka Uganda music okujjako maybe Chameleon Red and Weasel kati bano abayimbi nga twakitegera
nga bamanyi Roger yagana okuzana
bamanyi nga ze no buzenda bonna agenda ngambanye nyola kiri bwe kitera kasona kasenya nyamba nenfuna mbala gano nga genkola right now so chanyambako tuwegatta nitukola ku vulu chanyamba
it's different now.
It's different right now.
All right, cool. So definitely in brief, just tell me what's happening this Saturday mixtape party.
A big show to say, a DJ entirely event, the mixtape party, because of 2 collaboration, me and Roger, and then expect